Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to Dr. Halini. So today I will talk about my progress 1 on Padlet. So I will talk about the column 1 first. So this is the tasks that we have done before. So this is about the material and the purpose on using the material. And then the task 2 is about 5W and 1H on the material. So next is the list of activity. So I will talk about the ABM and BBM for the next section. So now I will explain it as roughly. So the asset induction, I will use two things, that is tote bag and pre-making artwork. Next is for activity 2, the first in between lesson, I will use Manila card, which is I will write the keywords and also attach some important artists. And for the activity 3 is in between lesson 2, I will use the textbook and also visual flashcard. Next is for the activity 4. This is the quiz session, so I will use a couple of pages on the quiz with empty boxes and a characteristic beside the boxes, and I will also provide them some pictures to fill in the empty box. Next, I will talk about the advantages of teacher. For activity 1, the advantage is drop some hints to student about the lesson. And second one is activity 2, to build understanding for the lesson. And activity 3, to making student understand the characteristic of each artwork of each century. And activity 4, allow students to discuss and make them think, so they have teamwork. Next is, my purpose is I want the student to see concept and ideas for the topic that I teach, so they can be more understand to differentiate each of the concept and ideas. So next is the advantages of student. Here is activity 1, to attract student interest. Activity 2, to increase students' understanding. Activity 3, to determine each artworks of each century. So the activity 4 is same as the advantages for the teachers. So next is I will talk about characteristic of learner. So here, based on the era of the 21st learning, based on the 21st learning, students nowadays is more to multitasking when they work together in a group. Besides, they have interaction between them and might have fast and easy in problem solving. So I want my student to be more creative, to be more active in multitasking and interaction between each other. So next is I will talk about the ARCS model. So here I already list. This is for overall activity actually. So for the ADE student, we realizes how they can differentiate the task given as example, different between each painting art and the artist in printmaking. So for the R is the topic is an art history topic, but this is the different history of art, which is printmaking art history. So this is the specific history, which is for printmaking. So for the C, they will work with their group and have discussion, so they can build their confidence through the task given. So they have a corporate system in the way they discuss with each other. So as the task will lead the students to do another activities, more to practical activities, so they can adapt more based on the theory learning. So next is I will talk about the reason for choosing the media. So the media that I choose were for generate students' understanding, while they can imagine the concept and idea. So they can be more clear to the lesson while I'm showing the visuals of each topic. And next is students can see clearly to distinguish the idea and concept clearly. So next is I will talk about the categories of a visual. So this is the important when we need to look at what is the characteristic of our students. So the characteristic of the visuals. Okay, so I choose a realistic. Realistic is show the actual object under study. I choose realistic is because it can enhance students' level of understanding of concept and idea in teaching and learning process. Besides, it helps teacher to convey the message by showing the real object, so students can experience their real situation. So like the set induction objects, I use the tote bag and also the real printmaking artwork. So lastly is the product. So the product is same as I use in all those activities. So here you can see the manila card that I already write on it and attach some pictures. Next is the flashcard and textbooks, and this is the materials that I use for quiz sheets, pictures, glue, and pencils. Now I will present about my traditional ABM and BBM that I use in my theory, teaching, and learning process. So first, I will talk about set induction. Set induction is really important to attract student attention in the lesson. So for my set induction, I will use two real objects, which is one is tote bag, and second one is a pre-making artwork, which made by me. So first I will use tote bag. So this tote bag is a silk screen printed tote bag. So I can show to the student, which is related to my lesson. So the second one is printmaking artwork, which is made by me. So you can attract students and related to the lesson that I will teach. Next is second activity, which is in between lesson. For this lesson, I will explain the introduction of Western printmaking by showing my student keywords and also the visual of the important artists in Western printmaking. So the object that I will use is a written manila card that I already write on it, and also the visual of the important artists in the Western printmaking. So next is the third activity, which is still in between lesson, but after the introduction of Western printmaking. So in this lesson, I will explain to the student about each printmaking artwork and styles in each century. So learning will be accompanied by visuals to help students more understand. So the first object that I will use is the textbook. This is Pendidikan Seni Visual textbooks. So I will refer to the page starting from the page 78. So the second one is the flashcards. So here is the visual flashcards that I will use that are quite a lot. So these pictures already have in the textbook, but I already printed like this to show to the student, to make student more feel interested into the lesson and more understand to the each artwork and the style of the each century. So lastly is the activity 4. At the end of the lesson, I will give student a quiz that the student will be separated to 5 groups, and they will cooperate together to finish the quiz. So the quiz will look like this. I will give the empty boxes, and students will need to attach the visual or the pictures here that I already print to attach to each boxes according to the characteristic given. So here is the characteristic given, and they need to attach the pictures. Next, for the same activity, for activity 4, I will also provide students some pencils and also glue. So the pencil is for writing down their groups into the quiz, and also the glue for attach the pictures into the quiz. Alright, next I will talk about how I use my ABM and BM through the lesson. So for the first one is set induction. So as I explained before, my set induction, I will use 2 objects, which is a tote bag and also a pre-making artwork made by me. So the first object is a tote bag. So here is the tote bag. The technique on the tote bag is a silk screen pre-making. So I will let students see and also touch the texture of the pre-making. And for the next one is a pre-making artwork made by me. So this artwork I will just give to students see, but not touch it because this is for their display. So I will explain to the student that this technique is the same as a tote bag technique, which is silk screen pre-making. So next I will explain to the student that these two objects is related to the lesson today I will teach, and which is related to the Western printmaking history. So next is for the activity 2, which is in between lesson. So I will use only one object, which is a manila card. So here is the written manila card, which I already wrote and attached some artist pictures here, important artist picture in the Western printmaking. So while I explain the introduction or the history of the Western printmaking, I will also show them the important keywords here and here to make students more remember and more understand on the history of the Western printmaking. Activity 3, which is still in between lesson but after the introduction of the history Western printmaking. So for the activity 3, I will use two objects, which is a textbook and also pictures of flashcards. So here is the textbook. I will ask student to open to the page of 78 until 85. So while I explaining the history of the each style and artwork of each century, I also show them the flashcards. So here is a bunch of flashcards. There's a lot, and these flashcards is about pictures of the artworks in each century. Of each century, which is an artwork of printmaking. So while I explaining the characteristic of the artworks and also the style of each era in Western printmaking, I will show them the pictures of the each artworks, so they will be more interested into the lesson and they will be more remember what I say. Lastly is for activity 4, which is the last activity. This is the quiz session. So I will provide my student a glue, a pencil, 2 pages of quiz, and also some pictures. So before that, student will be given 6 minutes to finish the quiz without open book. So they need to recall the lesson that I teach before. So the first thing they need to write down the group numbers here into the small box, and then they need to discuss with each other in their group, and then attach these pictures into the boxes according to the right characteristic to the right pictures. Okay, so here I already done 2 characteristic 1 and 2. So student will be discuss together and attach the pictures here. So the quiz will be not be a competition. So they just have the interaction and also discussion to each other to finish the quiz. So they can remember and recall into the. So at the end of the quiz session, I will discuss with my students about the right answer of the quizzes, and then I will wrap my class.